Welcome back to Straight Facts. It's Friday. Staffy, Lawless, Don back with us again. Loads to talk about today, plus something brand new. Something brand new to the Football Terrace is dropping today as well, which I can't wait to show you all. Loads to talk about, loads to delve into. Gyokeres to Arsenal, a new bid is expected soon. Eze to Arsenal, is it happening? But we've got to touch on Noni Madueke. I'm sure Donna's got a lot to say on that deal. We're talking Man United and what has been an horrendous start to the transfer window in many a Man United fans' eyes. But is all that outrage necessary? We're going to talk about that. We're going to debate that later in the show. Plus, my hypocrisy is being called out as well. And we're going to be talking about that on the Football Terrace. And Staffy hasn't been sacked. So put that one in your pipe and smoke it. But, gentlemen, we've got to start with the breaking news this afternoon. And that is that as it stands, Gibbs-White to Tottenham, the 2.5 hour, here we go, that had the world buzzing, Spurs fans gushing, Arsenal supporters fuming, United fans burning their own club down, is now off as things stand, as the Premier League have received a complaint from Nottingham Forest and legal action has been threatened that Gibbs-White was tapped up. How he was tapped up is that the release clause of 60 million was protected by a non-disclosure agreement. So it existed, but it was secret. If the club bid it, it would be accepted. If they bid under it, it would just be rejected as normal. But Nottingham Forest believe that either the player or the agent told Tottenham directly of the exact amount of the buyout clause because the bid was for the exact amount. So as of now, the Premier League have requested that the transfer doesn't go through while an investigation takes place and legal action may be taken. Thoughts on this, boys? Bad look for Tottenham, or do you think this might just be sour grapes from Nottingham Forest?
Absolute bullshit. Forest, that's absolute bullshit. So let me get this straight. You're upset that someone has triggered a legal release clause, and you're triggered because you think the agent or the player told them what the price is. So you're upset that you didn't milk out Spurs for more money. What a load of nonsense. That's actual bullshit. Players get tapped up all the time. We've seen it with Trent. We see it all the time with so many clubs. If anyone sits here and believes that players only talk to new clubs within the last 6 months of their contract, which should be the only legal way to do it, if you believe that happens, then you're deluding yourself. I'm sorry, Forrest, you're upset because you think a player who clearly now wants to leave your club told the club that's negotiated him, or the agent is the one that told them, hey, by the way, if you want to just get this deal done quick, just pay the money. They're asking for 60 mil legally. That's what's on the contract. What a little nonsense. Sounds like they're just sensitive. Sounds like they're just bitter. And I honestly don't see anything wrong with it. This is going to waste everyone's time now, taking this whole case to court. And what's going to happen? Morgan Gibbs-White is just going to be reintegrated back to the club and back to the team eventually. Come on, move on. Take the money, take it on the chin and move on. Absolute nonsense.
Yeah, I think as much as I hate Spurs, I don't think they've done anything wrong here. I don't think that there's a case against them. If there's an NDA, I mean, it's clear that the release clause was leaked to Spurs. They just so happened that their first bid is the release clause, right? So it's clear that it's been leaked, but it's the person that has leaked and broken the NDA that is at fault here, that is to blame, which could be the agent, could be the player. You got to prove it. You got to prove that they broke the NDA. You got to prove that there's tapping up. At the moment, it's circumstantial and coincidental that they've happened to bid the release clause. So, yeah, I don't think there's much of a case. Really, all this is going to do is delay it and delay the inevitable. And it seems to be that the Forest owner, he's a bit of a character, but he seems a bit salty. So, if I was him, I would just put this aside, take the money, and move on with your transfer window, because I don't see how he wins this case.
So what is he looking for? I think that's the best thing to ask.
Well, unless he wants to block.
I think
that's the point, Lawless.
Well,
what you want the player back?
Look, I would, yeah. Well, I don't think it's so much that. You've got to look at this. Has happened in a couple of different directions. So Chelsea were accused of something similar last year with the Lise, and Chelsea ended up just walking away. They didn't think it was worth the potential trouble that they would get into. famously, this happened with Van Dijk and Southampton, and the deal was delayed by 6 months, and Liverpool ended up paying a little bit more money to them. That may be the motivation here. At the same time, I get where you're coming from, but if there is an NDA, a non-disclosure, and you work in proper corporate world, Staffy, you understand what an NDA is. If you break an NDA of your company today and they sack you, you can't say your boss is being salty. Like it's still a legal precedent. And I think they're doing it now to potentially try and get more money. And they're going to get the cash up front anyway. At the same time, are we just going to say that breaking rules is okay?
Wait, but that's not what I'm... Let me ask this again. How is it breaking NDA that you're suspecting that the agent told the other club what the release clause is? Is the release clause meant to be confidential that no one knows about it?
Yes.
Because if that's the case, then how do clubs play for release clauses all the time?
Okay. So this is what's being reported, that the release clause is secret. It's under an NDA, which means if a bid is put, the idea is so no one knows about it. That way, if a club comes in and says there's 65 million, they can get 65 million. What Nottingham Forest will be telling clubs is we value him really high. It's why City walked away, because they were being quoted 70s and 80 millions. Forest are trying to get as much money as possible. But if 60 million comes in, they are forced to accept it, knowing that they believe that this information was then fed out. We've seen this before in slightly different circumstances with bad information. So when Arsenal famously bid 40 million pounds and £40 million and £1, Arsenal were led to believe by an intermediary that would make Liverpool have to accept, but they were misinformed. All it meant that Liverpool had to do is tell Suarez that a bid had been placed against his name. So there are different types of release clauses and transfer clauses in contracts. Some you have to accept, others you have to inform the player. There are others that, again, clubs want to keep secret. So there are some that they don't have to accept. But if a club bids that amount and keeps bidding it, you have to keep... The club can reject, but every rejection, the player gets a massive bonus of like £250,000 or £1 million. A lot of these are under NDA because the clubs don't want it to be public knowledge. And this has existed in football for a long time. So the only thing I'm saying here is I get what people are saying. This sounds salty from Forest, but the law is the law. Surely we can't be advocating for that to be broken, because then, what else is going to get broken if we advocate for this? If indeed
I don't
Spurs
agree
have done
with
it.
tapping up. I know Staffy says everyone does it. Look, it's the rules, right? It's the rules, and if you break the rules, then yeah, you should get punished. But how is it going to be proven that Spurs have tapped him up? How is it going to be proven who leaked the details of the NDA? Like you still have to be proved. It has to be proved. The burden of proof is on the accuser, which is Forest owner. So how is he going to prove all of this to the point where he can get what he wants?
I agree with that. I mean, how are they going to prove it? I don't know. Do they have proof? For me, I'm looking at Tottenham here and what Tottenham do, personally. If Tottenham step away, then they've done it. They're back. If you haven't, then you'd be able to prove it as well, because Spurs should have, between themselves and their intermediaries, themselves and the player's agent, communication, WhatsApp messages, emails, etc. They should be able to show that the communication was consistently clean, as an example. Most organizations have that, but a crazy turn of events. Didn't expect to see that today when Gibbs-White's name came up on all the news, but it's been widely reported, actually. The Telegraph, Ben Jacobs, Fabrizio, Sky, it's absolutely everywhere. So what do you see happening? Do you think this will be resolved, or do you think there's a genuine possibility this deal could collapse full term?
I think it'll only collapse if Spurs decide that they don't need the hassle. Do you know what I mean? Like if they sit there and go, do you know what? We got 60 mil. We've got other targets. We'll leave it. Do you know what I mean? If they really want Gibbs-White, I think this will just delay it and they'll get him. So I think it kind of depends on what Spurs want to do from here, as whether the deal happens and it goes ahead.
What are you saying about it, Don? Obviously, I know you had a few connection issues, bro. What do you make of this situation?
Bro, it's taking me back to when Palace snitched on us, when we tried to get Olise. It sounds like these lot are being salty right now, innit? I'll be honest with you, man. I think they want to obviously cop block the move. Because I'll be honest with you, bro, I hope it gets cop blocked. Because seeing Kudus and Morgan Gibbs-White on the same team, bro, especially on that transition, it's a long day to read. Yeah, just imagine Kudus picking up the ball and Morgan Gibbs-White just running next to him. It's
No.
long. You know what I'm saying, bro? It's long. I don't want to see that. So I'm hoping that Spurs back away. I'm with you on this one, Terry, as well. I think it's very similar to Chelsea. Like, we backed away because we clearly, you know, tapped up Police the way that we weren't meant to. And I can kind of see it going that same way as well. You know what I mean? But listen, Spurs are moving serious right now, man. Just on the side note, I think they're moving quite serious right now. I'm seeing their link to Walton. If they go pivot and go get a Belabor, for example, that's still going to be, you know, a really good signing. But it's a little bit techie for these guys right now. I think they'll probably walk away, man.
And you know, with the release clause, like now the release clause is public knowledge. If Spurs do have to walk away, like there's other clubs that can come in and activate that because it's been made public knowledge and they haven't tapped them up. So I don't know if Man United had money. It's a deal that they could probably look at. If the
City
funds
wanted
were there.
him, but they couldn't get him. I bet they didn't even know the release clause, which is why I'm saying I think Forest are just salty. They were just trying to milk out more money. They're upset at the fact that their release clause, which is legal for anyone to trigger if they have the money to do so, just got leaked because they wanted to get more. I think they quoted City at like 70 to 80 million. I think it's all saltiness, to be honest. I don't think they actually care about the player leaving. They care about not getting extra money. That's what I think.
Yeah. I respect him, though. I respect the owner because he really goes hard for his club. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's ambitious. He fights for Forest and don't just roll over like our owner does. So I got respect. I would like someone like that at my football club.
If they were to sign Morgan Gibbs-White and Kudus, man, them, yeah, right. Obviously, I know the window ain't done, so they might make more signings, yeah. Where would you put Spurs, Terry? Like, where would you sort of?
You're really hyping this Kudus signing, isn't it? I know you really rate it, Don. You're really
Kudus, I mean,
I do rate this.
Kudus must have. How much did it hurt, Lawless? Like, how much did it hurt seeing this man?
Yeah. Well, forget about Dunn. Lawless, talk to us.
Yeah, Lawless.
What happened, Lawless? What happened? Should I tell the backstory of how it all started?
Yes, break it down, Staff. Break it down, bro.
You know what, guys? I'm gonna tell you a story. I'm gonna give you a quick story. June 18th, I texted Lawless. I remember the exact date. June 18th. I texted Lawless. I say, Lawless, I'm seeing Kudus links to Spurs. What are your thoughts on that? He said, and I should pull up the screenshot. They don't have the facilities for that. We don't sell to Spurs. It's not going to happen. Days later, the link happens again. I ask him again, and he says, it's not going to happen. Spurs, we don't sell to West Ham. We don't sell to Spurs. The only time we done it was when we got relegated and we gave him Scott Parker. So Lawless, for about 2-3 weeks, said there was basically zero chance of it happening. And if it would happen, it would mean that they would have to milk him out for extra money because they're rivals. He even tried to compare it to United and Liverpool. And I said, don't be disingenuous. United and Liverpool generally don't sell to each other. I think they only sold 3 players to each other for over 100 years. Now Lawless is doing the whole copium thing. And now it's because Sullivan is a horrible owner. Oh, it's because he didn't want to be patient and wait for the Chelsea money. Lawless, you have egg on your face. Explain yourself, please, to why this is happening.
And who put that egg there? None other than David Sullivan. He put that egg
Here we
there.
go.
And it's true because there's nothing there where you can look at and say, this is fine. This is an okay thing to do if you're West Ham. We're just hearing the fact that it's rumored that they've got 4...
Here's the screenshot.
Yeah, like, listen, that should have been the case. That should have been the case, but it wasn't because of David Sullivan. And the fact that we're hearing they've got potentially 120 million from ENIC, which I need to find out more about this 300 million sponsorship for Saudi. That sounds dodgy. Forget Morgan Gibbs-White. That needs to be investigated. They've got 420 million apparently. And we rolled over for £54.5 million. Rushed it through. So, yeah, I'm fuming. It's just, and it's not that, again, like for West Ham, Kudus for next season isn't going to be a loss. And that sounds mad, coping. You can call it what you want. We saw what he was last season. We saw what he put out there. He's not our best player. That's Jared Bowen by a clear country mile. So it's not the fact that he's no longer at West Ham. It's the fact that we could have milked them for more, and we didn't. That's my problem.
You know,
so this is
go on.
So this is what you're doing to Kudus after you were complaining about Lopetegui You were witnessing Lopetegui playing my man left wing. Now you're putting all the blame on Kudus now.
No, see, don't do this, Don. And I'll tell you why this don't work. I'll tell you why this don't work. Because I was complaining. I was complaining. I was defending Kudus. But guess what happened when we started putting him on the right when Bowen was up top or in the middle? Guess what happened? He was still shit. So that's where the benefit of the doubt went. I can sit there and see him put crap performance in after crap performances on the left and go, well, he's out of position. He gets put in position and he's still crap. I'm seeing this guy.
He didn't have a good season.
And the fact that he went on that video and was like, I play for the team. I'm a team player. Bullshit. He's the most selfish player I've ever seen in a West Ham shirt. The guy dribbles and looks down, doesn't look up, and would rather smash the ball side netting than pass someone.
You know why, Lawless? And this might sound like I'm trying to diss you, but I genuinely do mean it. It's because he just doesn't rate the team that he was in. When players play that way, you know they think they're better than everyone else. Like, I'll tell you what, go look at Alexis Sanchez, how he used to play for Arsenal. He used to play knowing that he's the best player in that team. And to be fair, he's miles ahead of Kudus. I'm not even comparing them, just comparing the way that they play. You can tell when a player actually doesn't rate the team that they're in. Didn't he fall out with I forgot your manager, the one that you sacked. Didn't he fall out with him one time at halftime? Like it was told that they had a disagreement at halftime in one of the games.
He's a white. It's not that he's a whiny, petulant child. Yeah,
it's not a good attitude. Don't get me wrong. I just think he's one of these players. When his team is playing like shit and he doesn't rate his team and probably doesn't even rate what the manager is doing, he starts playing to himself because he's probably looking at it. He's like, you know what? I know y'all shit, but I'm better than this, so I might at least try to play for myself.
But
which is actually a bad thing going to Spurs.
Bowen is better than him, clearly.
No, but that's fine. That's your opinion. I'm just telling you probably what's going on in his head. You could just tell from the way that he plays.
Well, then he's an idiot, isn't it?
Taking that attitude into Spurs, I'm not gonna lie, still not a good thing. Because Spurs, goodness me. I mean, we've seen them last season. So it's not like Spurs are serial winners. He might actually go to Spurs and let's say they start the season well and eventually start dropping off. I can't tell you that he probably won't do the same thing at Spurs. So that is a red flag. I am actually agreeing with you. That is a red flag that he can bring to Spurs. Say that again?
Someone said he does the same for Ghana.
I don't know. I can't lie and pretend that I watch Ghana.
And the thing is, when they don't qualify for Champions League
Ghana
next
has been
season,
shit as well. I can't lie.
What's he going to do when they don't qualify for Champions League next season? Which is going to happen. I don't see them qualifying for Champions League. They'll have one season in Champions League, and then they'll be back down Europa Conference. And that's not sour grapes. That's just facts. I
like Kudus. I do. I hear where Staffy's coming from. I like Kudus, but I have to agree there is a red flag element there. If he becomes disillusioned at Tottenham, I know that the last couple of days has got Tottenham fans, and I was with Free Spurs fans last night in the We Are Tottenham TV studios, and they're like, "We don't do this. This ain't how we behave. This isn't how we operate," which is fair. But if next season doesn't go well, there is Staffy's right. There is the genuine possibility that he downs tools again, and suddenly you've got a real big problem there, I suppose. But I like Kudus. I think he's going to be a big success there. But there is always that possibility because he's done it before. And what is it they say? Leopards don't change their spots. So it's a fair point, Staffy. They're moving crazy. Runin here says Henry is punching the effing air right now. No, probably he's more like his chair than the air. He loves to kick a chair.
Bro, that chair is safe, bro. Don't worry about it. That chair is safe.
We need Lawless versus Henry. What, in a ring? Lawless would kill him, bruv. Lawless would kill him. Although I did see Lawless kicking a football the other day.
I was just about to say. It's the genes, apparently. It's the genes. That's what you keep saying, bro.
Listen, genes that they were thick, heavy genes in the heat. I will redeem myself, like I said on Pot's channel in the comment. I'll redeem myself.
You were doing what I call a two-step shuffle when you were kicking the ball. Your feet were all under themselves. They're like kick, kick. I disappointed, man.
I folded under the pressure. Like I had these lot screaming in my ears. I had the balls. Like you don't know when they're gonna come. They're coming quick. You got 5 seconds to shoot. I folded under pressure, man.
The lights were too bright. Listen, I'm gonna tell you what Dimothar Berbatov always said. All you need is a ball and a wall. That's all you need, Lawless. After this stream, I want you to go to the nearest wall and just take a football and practice your first touch. So I'm not gonna lie, that look horrible, bro.
Nah, I can't lie. Staffy was doing a lot of talking in the GC. When you come London, bro, we're taking you to Tucker.
Okay, bro, I can strike a ball better than Lawless. That's
we
one
need
thing
to
I
see
can
some
promise.
evidence of that.
That's one thing I'll promise.
I won that whole thing, man. I won that whole thing. I can't lie. I like what.
Yeah, Don, you play like every week in a team and shit. Like, I'm rusty.
Don't look like he was. He looked like someone who plays regularly. So
yeah, he was good. He was good. To be fair, him and Potts.
Yeah, Potts can strike a ball. I can't lie. He can strike. He knows how to strike a ball. I can't lie.
Potts at the age like me. Like when you put a little bit of weight on people and you're a bit older, people think, you can't do it, but definitely can. You see that big guy that does Instagram stuff and they write things like Mo Salad and things like that. It's a great guy. I don't know what the guy's name is. I used to play with a guy like that in Tottenham. His name was nickname was Money because he just always had money. And he was a big lad. I would say he's a good 18 to 20 stone. This was 20 years ago now, but he could play. Like his ability, shooting.
Hey,
there are
there's
some
so
boys
many
like
people
that.
like that, you know. You look at them, they're looking like Rikishi, but when they get the ball, they're playing like Ronaldinho, bro.
I know, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. And I always remember saying to him, like, you'd be better if you lost weight. And he did say the weirdest thing to me. He was like, no, I'm better when I've got more weight on me. And I'm like, no athlete would ever have that. No football football team is going to say, listen, Messi, you're really good. But to get better, put on 5 stone. Like, it never happened. But yeah. Bowen overlooked by the Prem teams, 2 seasons, 43 GA. He's very good. He's good, Bowen.
And the thing is, just to quickly add, the problem is with Kudus is I put him on a pedestal of when your team's crap, like you're the player that can take the game by the scruff of the neck and make something happen when things are down. He's your talisman, kind of like Pyatt was for us, you know. Bowen was that guy last season. He carried us on his back. Kudus ghosted. Like, so the mentality there for Bowen, he's what you want in a team.
Yeah, I think he checked out.
I think he just checked out, but I'll be real.
He just checked out.
But that's not an excuse. You can't just you're saying that like, oh, it's fine. He's a great player.
I didn't even say it like that. You're just getting defensive, right?
No, you're crying, bro.
That's a massive character flaw. That's a massive.
I'm saying, of course it is, bro. And Spurs, yeah, Spurs fans have got to be wary of that because it's like, cool. We already know what they're like. We already know what they're like in terms of like spending and that. I know they're moving a little bit serious right now, but they don't always move like this, right?
You watch when he's against Sunderland, he's against Burnley. You will not see the best of Kudus. It's in the big games where he wants to show up and the lights are bright and he wants to, you know what I mean, show off for the cameras, get his little stall out, all of that stuff. When it's against in the smaller games, he'll ghost.
I hear that. Look, so moving on from West Ham, because obviously Staffy's going to cook me later, so we'll do that later in the show. But Arsenal yesterday.
I didn't say that. I'm saying I'm going to cook you. I already cooked you yesterday.
Why? Staffy, don't do this here because Terry's right about you. You always bottle it on camera.
No,
you have all this energy in the group
I'm cooking you on Friday.
I'll say this, Staffy. Staffy, I'm going to be honest with you. You can't. Can I cook chicken on my barbecue if the chicken's still in the shop? You can't cook me by reacting. It means you can't cook me by That means you can't cook me by reacting to my video. You got to do it to my face, bruv.
I mean, we can do that, but don't force it. Just bring the conversation and we'll do it. I don't come into the show saying, "Oh, today I have an agenda."
I know, but I've got something for you. I've got something for you, brother. But right, let's move on from that. We'll come back to it later, right? Arsenal yesterday, they've signed Madueke. He will not be in the Chelsea team for the final. He's flying home. Documents have been exchanged. That is done. Sky have just reported that it's £48 million plus $4 million for the deal. Don, how happy are you with this transfer and Chelsea losing the best one-on-one winger in the league?
Hey, listen, don't misquote me. I said one of the best, right? One of the best I've taken on his mind. One of the best. And listen, I'm still standing by that take. I'm not one of these people that are now going to change it and that because he's gone to Arsenal. I still think that he's one of the best at taking on his man in the league. But ultimately, Terry, you can vouch, bro. I've been on here for about 3 years now, and I've said Madueke needs to improve his end product. And for me, this season was the season for him to really step up because he was starting to get a lot more minutes, a lot more starts. He's playing with a manager that likes direct wingers, but I feel like he's stagnated, bro. And for me, I honestly feel like he's got a little bit complacent because he's looking around him. He's looking at a Neto that was getting used to the system, that wasn't starting games. He's looking at Sancho that's playing left wing. He's looking at Mudryk that don't even play on the right, and obviously he got banned in that. There was no real competition for this guy. You know what I'm saying? And his end product has not got any better, right? He's got 7 goals this season. What is it? 3 of them came up against Wolves. The rest of the goals, you know, they weren't great. He's missed a lot of big chances this season. He gets in and around the box. He's very indecisive. When it's time to pass, he doesn't want to pass. When it's time to shoot, he wants to dilly-dally on the ball, right? So he's been very, very frustrating to watch this season. And I've been saying for most of the season, it's not going to take much for Esteval to come into this team because Neto and Madueke aren't performing, right? And to be fair to Neto, he actually started to pick up in 2025. But Madueke, bro, he stagnated. And the club believed that as well. That's one of the major reasons why we're getting rid of this guy, because he's now like 3rd choice, bro. You know what I'm saying? So end of the day, I think for Arsenal, if they're signing him as a backup for Saka, I think that's a very good signing. I think that's a very good backup if it's for Saka. But if they're bringing him in to be starting left wing, you know what I'm saying? They're mainly using him on that side. They want to start him all these games and they miss out on Rodrigo. That's when, as an Arsenal fan, I would not be happy. Because Noni, one thing about Noni, you cannot depend on this guy, bro. If you're dependent on him week in, week out to be starting and getting you goals and getting you assists, he's not that. He's another guy that's going to frustrate you the way Martinelli frustrates you, bro. You know what I'm saying? And Terry's going to share a tweet in a second as well, because I've been asked before if he's a better player than Saka. Saka's better than this guy. And the reason why Saka's better is right there. Noni's more direct than Saka, but Saka has more end product. At least when Saka gets into the final third, you know he's going to create. You know he's going to get the shot on target and that. Madueke is just very indecisive in and around the box, bro. You know what I'm saying? And everyone knows I go to a lot of games. There's a lot of games this year where I've gone and Noni's not even trying to run at people anymore. You know what I'm trying to say? So I think it's just the best for all parties to part ways, because like I said, there's players right now that are ahead of this guy. Personally, for me, if we had the sporting directors at the beginning, I don't think we would have signed him. This was a signing that was made by Vivell. See, Vivell's gone to United now. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? That's how I'm kind of looking at it right now. It is where it is. If it stops Arsenal from buying Rodrigo, even better. But if they buy Rodrigo along Noni, that would be a good signing. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think Arsenal are going to do that. I don't think Arsenal are going to do that, man. I think the only way Rodrigo comes in is if they sell Martinelli. That's how I kind of look at things, because he's more valuable than Trossard.
Someone just mentioned Rodrigo to City is on, apparently.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about your tweet. The last line of your tweet, where you say the more end product than him, that's where Madueke needs to continue improving. Do you think he will continue to improve on that? Because he did last year. He got more goals. He got more GA. Do you think he will continue over the next couple? Yeah, well, yeah. But the thing is, he's backup, so he'll play in all comps. Do you think he'll continue to improve as you suggested there, or do you think he's kind of hit his ceiling?
Listen, he could definitely improve, innit? Like, the good thing about this signing for Arsenal, you're not signing a player that's like going into their 30s. You're signing a guy that's going to be 24 by the end of next season, right? He's still playing with some good players. He's playing in a good system. Arteta, he's developed quite a few people like Saka, right? So he can still develop. I'm not saying that he can't, but it's one of them ones, Terry, where it's like, I'm tired of it, bro. I want players where we don't need to do that much work with. You know what I'm saying? Guys like Madueke, guys like Mudryk and that. I spoke about this before. I don't want to be signing guys at that level. I want to be signing guys like Esteval, guys like Quenda, where you don't need to do as much, you know, development as what you can do with Noni. But in terms of developing him, he can definitely improve 110%. 110%. But that's their problem now. That's their problem now, not ours.
I wait for someone else to talk.
Yeah, no, I didn't know he was ready. I thought you was gonna go and do your thing where you're like, okay, Staffy.
No, yeah. I still think we're on this. But yeah, sorry.
Fair enough. Yeah, like the Madueke thing. It's mad to me that they've obviously pulled out this money, continuing to give Chelsea money. Arteta's fetish for Chelsea rejects. I don't get it. I don't understand it. People can look at it and go, yeah, it's a backup. You know, I get we don't know the extent of their resources and how much money they have to spend, Arsenal, right? If they go on to spend like another 250 mil or 200 mil on what they've spent, you go, oh yeah, wow, they've got some backups, they've got all their first choice targets. But you would think, like, you know, they'd maybe prioritize getting this Gyokeres deal of like just use some of that money and chuck the extra funds that they need to get the Gyokeres deal over the line. Do you know what I mean? Just give sport and what they're asking for. Then you got Rodrigo. You know what I mean? There's money there that they can go and put that over the line. I just feel like they're probably in a situation with FFP where they can spend, but they're going to have to sell some players to complete their transfer window. And I just feel like this shouldn't have been a priority. I know we say on here you don't get all your first choices early on in the window. I feel like in this scenario, like you need to prioritize. You need to prioritize those key targets because there will be other teams coming in, like Rodrigo. Get that in early before other clubs have a chance to say, do you know what? Yeah, let's no one's gone for him yet. Seems to be available. Let's put that bid in. So I just think it's more unnecessary signings for Arsenal. And if it's just getting a backup, like, do you really need to spend 50 million for a backup? There's no options. You've got Wanyeri there, who obviously hasn't signed a new deal already there. I can't look at it as shrewd business from Arsenal.
Just to play devil's advocate a little bit though, yeah. Like, I know obviously people are talking about the fee, like Arsenal don't pay 50 million for backups and whatnot. But when you deep inflation, that price for Madueke, what, 52 million with add-ons, that's the equivalent of what? Like 35 million back in the day, bro. Like, it's gone up. You know what I'm saying? Like, Elanga's that sort of price range, Gittins is that sort of price range. I would expect that in today's age, but inflation's happened. You know what I'm saying? So Arsenal could still go and sign a Rodrigo, but I don't see that happening unless they sell Martinelli. That's how I kind of see it. But I don't think the price is.
They wouldn't have had to sell Martinelli though if they spent this money on Rodrigo to start with. Do you know what I mean?
True. Staffy, I want to ask you this question, Staffy. There's been, since the announcement, there's been all this footage come out of Arteta Out and graffiti over their kind of murals. Noni Madueke has received a lot of horrible like DMs, and people have been encouraging that. What do you make of some Arsenal fans' reaction to this? There's a lot of anger, there's a lot of frustration online, but also, graffiti, criminal damage, abusive DMs. What do you make of the Arsenal fan reaction?
I mean, I don't think I need to speak about the abusive, the hate base that Madueke is getting. At the end of the day, nothing is his fault. So I've seen some tweets and people putting those pictures of his this is what Madueke is gonna go to Arsenal with, and it's like a do-rag and a split or whatever. So it's low-key racism anyway. So I mean, I don't need to tell you that that's not the right behavior. As far as Arteta though, we can talk about that because I understand it, and I don't think this is just on Arteta. I understand Arsenal fans being frustrated, and I think they are right to express their displeasure with this signing. And I think I said it last week, but we might as well just talk about it again. None of this, by the way, is Madueke's fault. At the end of the day, he's a footballer. He rates himself. He thinks him going to a team that supposedly should be contending for the league next season. They did contend for the league 3 years in a row. If he fancies himself as a player that can go in and play a role in that team, that's up to him. I'm sorry?
I was going to say they didn't contend for the league 3 years in a row.
Well, they finished second, but you know what I mean. But the point remains the same. He thinks he could go to that team and play a role. That's fair play to him. It's the other side now. Berta, Arteta, whoever identified this as a correct signing, I don't know what is going on in that football club. I don't dislike the idea of Madueke as a footballer. At the end of the day, he's a specialist at something.
Sorry. We have some breaking news. Crystal Palace have been demoted to the Conference League by UEFA. Nottingham Forest have been upgraded to the Europa League. That has just happened now.
Because of Leon.
Because of the Leon and the ownership connection, yes.
All right, let me cook D right now. Let me cook D.
Wow.
There you go, Lawless. Some good news for you.
He deserved. Listen, D Palace, you deserve this, mate.
Matata, come through.
Watch him go missing. Good. That's what you get.
Come through. We got you, buddy.
Boy, it's do you know what? Like, rivalry aside, it's harsh, man. It's piss. Like, you've got to follow the rules. All of that. They can only be really angry at their ownership for not foreseeing this as a possibility, and it's so harsh though, man. Because this team just finally won their first ever trophy, finally got into Europe, and they're like,
"Can I play that?"
But they could win another trophy now.
I think they've got more chance of winning the Conference League. I think by May they might prefer it, because I'm not going to lie. if I could have been in the Conference League last year and not the Europa League, we probably would have won it.
To be fair, Glasner has
so
European
sure.
pedigree. He won the Europa League with Frankfurt before, so
True.
you can definitely go ahead and win this.
But they've been
that's great news for Forest
demoted.
now. Did they now get a money bump from being?
Yeah,
in
there's
Europa?
a lot more. There's a lot more. I think there's an extra 20 to 30 million being in the Europa League.
They're gonna take that money from Palace. They're gonna go with the receipt. So you know that deposit we gave you. Yeah, we need that back.
Wait. So Forest are now in the Europa League.
Yeah, they swapped them basically.
Yes.
Interesting, man. Interesting.
Yeah. It is an interesting point.
Boy, no, honestly, that's not a nice feeling because I remember when we made Europa League and United won the FA Cup, bro. You lot fucking snatched.
But you didn't actually make it yet because you knew there's still a possibility that you don't make it. But the fact that today is like July 11th and all of a sudden Palace fans are just seeing the news right now, that's a bit brutal because they already went through the door and they're like, no, you got to leave. You got to exit.
You know what? This could affect them in the transfer window, not just who they could bring in, but in terms of keeping some of their players that are sought after. You know, they've got
Mateta's, and I agree with Staffy. And no, I'm not going to say what I'm about to say. Like the teams that wanted Mateta, Mateta was like, no, I want to do the Europa League with Palace. He might now be even more determined to do the Conference League because he might feel hard done by. But there might be part of him now going, do you know what? The Europa League was what was keeping me here. That's now gone. So there's a definite possibility.
You know what kills me? You know what kills me though, Terry? You know what kills me though, Terry? Yeah, I saw a little stat earlier. I just want to read it so everyone can understand, yeah, who the big boys are and who the pride of London is and who the greatest club in London is, by the way. Yeah? Since 2019-2020 season, there's only been one season that Arsenal haven't come to my club to go and buy a player. You know what I'm saying? I call these man CEX boys for a reason, right? And I'm telling you, Arteta is in board meetings right now with our board, waiting to see who we can go get next season. You know what I'm saying? He's thinking of the next reject already, bruv. You know what I'm saying? A year in time, right? So 1920, David Luiz. 2021, Willian.
1920?
Right? 2019-2020, bro. Yeah? 1920, the season, 1920, David Luiz. 2021, Willian. 21-22, nobody. 22-23, Jorginho. Yeah? 23-24, that Seahorse, right? 24-25, Razzle Dazzle. Yeah? And then 25-26, Kepa and Madueke. Yeah? I love this game, bro. I fucking love this game, bro, because these fucking gunners love to talk shit about Chelsea players and Chelsea players are this and that. Why does your manager keep coming back for them, bro? Why does he keep coming back for them? Yeah? You keep asking me, how did Chelsea spend all this money? We spend all this money because you keep funding my club. Yeah? You keep giving us bread. Over 100 million on Kai Havertz and Madueke is scandalous. It is scandalous, bro. My head would be on absolute Mars if Chelsea did that, bro. Kai Havertz and Madueke over 100 million, bro. Yeah? If you didn't know, we got fined the other day. Already, we've cleared that fine. Yeah? Already, we've cleared that fine. You know what I'm saying? These lot love our old goods. They love it so much. Who's next? You know what I mean? Who's next? Let's just go fuck around and go bring Ethan as well. Yeah? Fuck it. Don't even play him. Just send him to Strasbourg. How about that? Yeah? How about that? Send him to Strasbourg, bro. You know what I mean? Go play some European football over there. Yeah? And win some trophies, bro. Because he ain't winning shit over there, blood. You know what I'm saying? Yeah? You man are our little boys. You man are our little brothers, bro. You know what I mean? In fact, I ain't even family with you, man. You man are just any guys that we can just go. We just when we need a little hit, we hit you up. You know what I'm saying? That's what you man are. Yeah? Big up Arteta, man. Big up Super Mick. He knows what he wants. He knows what he wants, bruv. You know what I mean?
So you're saying they're your errand boys?
Yeah, bro. Basically, we send these man shop.
Yep.
These are the guys that you send shop, bruv. You know,
So
you know the guys in the end story that you send shop.
Yep, you send shop.
Man.
I get that. So you send them shop. They're your errand boys. Are you finishing above them next season?
Hey. Listen.
Come on.
Don't be asking me big boy questions right now, man. We'll talk end of the window.
That's what Staffy would call an irrelevant question. So
it is, to be fair, an irrelevant question. But
110%, bro.
Maybe.
You know what I mean?
I feel if a team, I get the banter. I do feel if a team of you listen, where we're from, the man you send shop, that's a big insult. You can't be finishing behind them 4 seasons running and sending them to the shop.
Hey, Broski, listen, don't worry about us, man. I'm trying to win something. Yeah, these man think finishing above Chelsea is a trophy. It's not a fucking trophy, mate. Yeah.
How do you think?
Just make sure you finish above me.
I hear that. How do you think that you'll get on Sunday? Big game for you, man.
Listen, Sunday we've got every chance of beating PSG, man. It's annoying. I'm not gonna be able to watch the game, Terry, because I'm a fucking wireless. Yeah, I didn't realize that wireless is the same day as the final. I didn't even think we were gonna get to the final, so I'm never gonna be able to watch the game. But in terms of this game, it's gonna be a brilliant game for neutral, especially because when you look at how PSG build up, you know, on and off the ball as well, how they press, how they counter press, you know, how they attack. It's very similar to what Chelsea do as well, bro. In terms of our build up play, our midfield. Obviously, PSG have got a better attack than us. But right now, in the Club World Cup, Chelsea are actually outperforming their XG, which means that they've been quite clinical in front of goal, with the likes of Pedro, with the likes of Delap, you know, Enzo contributing, Pedro Neto contributing, right? The team right now is very confident. I can't think of any player in the team right now that's off form, apart from, ironically, the guys that are leaving. Madueke's been a bit off form, and Jackson should be leaving as well. He's been off form. But everyone else right now has been locked in, man. Caicedo should be fit for the game. I see Lavia's not in training again, but I'm not worried about that because we've got Santos. He's been coming on and doing a job for us. He started the other day. It's like the guy's been at Chelsea for a year, bro. He played very well, you know. So how I'm looking at the game, man, it's going to be the mentality that loses us the game. If we go into that game and we're scared and we're like, oh, we're going to lose, we're going to lose the game. You know, if you play your game and you take your chances, because we will get chances against these guys, I think we'll beat them. You know what I'm saying? I saw Real Madrid get battered the other day, but Real Madrid, their build-up play was so bad, Terry. I'm looking at Jude and Tchouameni and Gula in the midfield. Gula was barely even getting on the ball because Jude and Tchouameni, they can't control games. These guys are missing Toni Kroos. They need a Modric. They need a Toni Kroos in that team because there's no one in that first phase that can pick up the ball and control the game. They were struggling to beat that press. And if you go look at how PSG scored, they literally scored from 2 mistakes. Yeah. Then after that, Real Madrid were just defending like joke men. Chelsea have actually been very solid. The way we counter press, bro, our midfield, it's not easy to play against us. You know what I'm saying? It's really not easy to play against us, man. So this final can go both ways. Anyone that thinks it's going to be a walk in the park for PSG, I don't think it will be. I don't think it will be, bro. And what I like as well, Terry, is, you know, these guys now have experience of winning together. You know, the mentality in this team seems to have shifted, man. People were taking the piss out of this rugby guy that we hired, right? This Kiwi, but he's actually helped. He's like this mentality coach. Bro, it seems like he's helped these players, man. You know what I mean? These don't seem like pushovers anymore. You know what I'm saying? So how we're going to win this game? Rough PSG up because they are technical ballers. Rough them up, make them look lost on the pitch, put them off of their game. That's how we're going to win this game, man. You know what I'm saying?
Staffy?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a big midfield battle. And I was talking with Chelsea fans actually after their last game. They were already anticipating that PSG was gonna win. So we were actually talking about this, and I said, listen, if you try to go toe to toe with them, I think that's the wrong approach because they're far superior in certain departments than you are. The only thing that Chelsea really have close to this PSG team is their midfield, and their midfield is still better, but that's your strongest department. I think if your whole focus is like, oh, how are we going to dominate the ball against them? How are we going to do this? How are we going to do that? I think that's the wrong approach. I think what you need to do is make that midfield of theirs uncomfortable because when they get into rhythm, they know how to keep the ball and they know how to move it. You do have, on the other hand, you have enough players in that midfield to give them less time on the ball. So if your recovery time, every time you lose the ball, is going to be like, 45 seconds and shit, because like they've been putting these stats out during the game, you're getting cooked. It's about how quickly or how uncomfortable you make them when they win the ball from you guys. And I think that's going to be the key. You do work hard, I'll give you that. They're just an amazing pressing team. The way Dembele and Doué just the way they stand, by the way, on the 18-yard box, ready to press the opposition's goalkeeper. They just remind me of American football when someone's about to punt and all the players are going to run to try to block. That's what it looks like. They just do insane work off the ball. So in terms of quality, I think you can admit that they're better than you overall. But there's a way to win this. Like Chelsea, when you look at Chelsea's history, their 2 Champions Leagues, they weren't the favorites. They weren't even the best team in England in the 2 times that they won the Champions League in 2012 and I think it was 2021. So they do have a history of winning big trophies by being the underdog. There is a way to do it. I wouldn't be surprised if Chelsea win. You're not the favorites, but I think that's the way Maresca should approach the game. It's going to be all about discipline off the ball, and it's going to be all about throwing PSG off of their game because they have a stronger game than you.
No, 100%, bro. And listen, the thing about PSG, bro, I actually wanted to play them instead of Madrid, man. I want to test where we are
It's a
right now.
challenge, yeah.
Yeah, it's a challenge. It's actually a real challenge. And, I want to test where we are. Like I said, I think we're quite similar in terms of our style of play. And the thing about Chelsea, we prefer playing against teams that press us because we've got ball playing centre backs, bro, right? We've got midfielders that are press resistant. We've got midfielders that can just pop the ball around the corner. And before you know it, we're attacking you. Yeah. So that's something that Real Madrid failed to exploit the other day. In the first 10 minutes, I counted at least 3 occasions where Madrid could have just built an attack, but they're just breaking it down. Chelsea's build-up play is fantastic, bro. The way we play out from the back is mad. So, end of the day, let them come to us. It will be a similar thing to what Villa did to them, because Villa were doing the same thing. They're being pressed, they're beating that press. Before you know it, they're just running at them and they're scoring goals. That's what we need to do in order to beat these guys. We need to be, on it, bro. Technically and physically, we need to rough these guys up, man. We need to rough them up.
You know what? The one problem you have is, though, when it comes to all this build-up play that you're talking about, is your goalkeeper.
Yeah.
In any moment, that guy is going to make a mistake. The way they press, by the way, you've seen what they did with, what's his name, Asensio, Rudiger. I'll be honest. I'll be very surprised if the 90 minutes end without at least one Sanchez mistake. And you better pray when that mistake happens, not if it happens, that it doesn't result to a goal. Because they're so good at causing the other team's backline, especially when they love to build up deep, to make mistakes. So I can't promise you that Sanchez is not going to fumble this.
Bro, Sanchez has to go long because we've actually got guys that we've actually got guys that can hold up the ball. Like Pedro can hold up the ball, Delap can hold up the ball. The physicality in Chelsea's team has gone up, bro. We've got physical players in this team now that can rough man up. We've played 3 Brazilian teams, and I would probably say the only battle that we lost was against Flamengo. They bullied us, I can't lie. But the other 2, bro, we roughed them up, man. Like we played Fluminense. The commentator was even saying like they look lost. Like this is the first time in this competition I've seen them looking lost, because every time they try to build up play or get the ball and try to play in that, we're just compressing them, or we're winning the ball back. And that's what I keep saying about our counter press. It's very good. As soon as we lose the ball, we all try to win it back quickly, bro.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to watching Caicedo because I rate him, and I just want to. This is the best midfield currently.
For him. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
it's a big
massive,
game.
massive.
Chelsea win. Probably he's man of the match. That's my prediction.
It makes a lot of sense.
I want to see how João Pedro does, because he was looking good the other day, but tested up against the best team in the world.
Yeah,
but their backline is not that strong. I mean, to be fair, Pacho's back, so that's going to be a challenge.
Pacho's not back. He's suspended.
Oh, he's out for 2 games.
Violent conduct. Yeah, violent conduct. Yeah.
Yep, Hernandez is out as well.
Their center backs are not that good, I'll be honest. Like those are probably their weaknesses. Marquinhos and what's his name? Who started next to him last game?
I don't remember.
Because Lucas Hernandez is also out. Who started in the back line for him?
I don't remember his name.
I gotta look it up. But yeah, their center backs is probably not their strength. So João Pedro is probably gonna have to play a role there. So we'll see.
Yeah, very interesting one.
It's the goalkeeper, man. We need to be clinical, man. One thing I've seen again, like I've said, we're actually, we're not breaking down as many attacks. Like we're actually having some quality in the final third, and that goes for sure.
Beraldo. Yeah.
I was listening the other day. Jem spoke about it, bro. Like we're actually taking our chances. You know what I mean? Some of these chances aren't even clear cut. They're half chances, but we're just being very good in front of goal, man.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at our firepower right now. Like you're looking at Delap. I doubt Delap will start, but you take off a João Pedro, you bring on a Delap. I'm not complaining about that. I don't want to see Jackson right now. I don't want to see Jackson right now.
Mate, you're right too. You're right too. Let's do some super chats here. This one here says, hello lads, big up. Really not understanding the devastation behind the Madueke signing. How many years has everyone cried about having no depth on the right cover for our main 11 due to injuries? If they can't come now, we cry. They cry when they come. I didn't see this
because I was actually explaining it when the Palace thing came out, so I didn't really get to speak about this. Let me tell you why Arsenal fans are frustrated, and I think they're right. When you sign backups with the knowledge knowing that their ceiling is just being backups, especially when you pay over 50 million for him, from a rival, it is frustrating. You can go get players that come in and they make automatic depth, but you also know that they have a little bit more of a ceiling that eventually, in a couple years, if they keep progressing, especially if they're at a young age, and they add a little bit more to their game, they could potentially be ceiling raisers and get in the starting 11. When you look at, forget Kepa because he's a backup goalkeeper. You look at Norgard and you look at Madueke, and fair, Mosquera, but I'm fine with that signing. you already know that their limit, especially for Norgard and Madueke, their ceiling is always going to be backup. Madueke is not going to displace Saka. There's so much that needs to be added to his game for you to look at him and say, you know what, he's a consistent Premier League starter for a Premier League winning team. You don't see that there. If you want it just a backup and you know probably their ceiling is limited, get him for cheaper. Go for at least a Malik Fofana from Lyon. Go for a Johan Bakayoko from PSV. These are very similar profiles that probably have a higher ceiling than Madueke and would have cost half the price. I look at Madueke as a lazy signing. It's a lazy recruitment. Just sign someone who the Premier League already knows and let's just move on from it. Not a great signing. I'm sorry.
Someone said in the chat, Kudus, like, is the fact, and I know obviously look, he was shit last season, but I still put him above Madueke. He's still a better player than Madueke.
Of course he is. Yeah, and Staffy made a good point about Fofana having a higher ceiling. That's how I'm looking at it with Esteval. Guys like, oh, Esteval needs to develop as well. Of course he does, but when I watch him playing and I watch Madueke playing, I'm sorry, bro. In terms of their IQ and decision making, Esteval's already better than this guy. You know what I mean? And he's got a much higher ceiling than Noni, bro.
His ceiling is very... you said it perfectly. Chelsea can already tell that Madueke's ceiling is there. They know that he's not getting much better than this. It's rare for players. I'm not saying it won't happen, by the way, but it's rare for players at this age, when you've seen them for many years play first-team football, they don't add these little elements to their games. It's rare when something like that changes. Mo Salah is an example of like the other side. Like Salah was like, what, 24? I'm not gonna lie, he was just a speed merchant, good dribbler, goes to Liverpool, and all of a sudden just adds insane output. If Madueke adds output like Salah did when he went from Roma to Liverpool, then fair enough, that's a great signing. But what is the likelihood for something like that to happen? I wouldn't say a lot.
Staffy, he's had a lot of game time, man. Like he's had a lot of game time. He's not a little boy anymore. He's not a little boy anymore, bro. Yeah, I always try to be fair with these things. Like before, he would play, he would come off the bench, but he wasn't really getting consistent minutes. Now he has been. He's got complacent, man. He's got complacent, bro.
Magnum here says, I don't think Madueke can learn a thing or two from... You don't think he can learn a thing or two from Saka? Who's teaching him things at Chelsea? I look at this as a really good backup.
Brother, he's the same age as Saka. What do you mean? What is he going to teach him? Hey, Madueke, let's learn how to shoot a ball today.
Chelsea, City, and Liverpool shop at Gucci. Arsenal shop at St. Luke's Hospice and Oxfam. You better all finish above him then. You better finish above him.
Wait, what's that place?
Oxfam is like a cheap charity shop. Yeah. If you're a kid and you get your clothes from Oxfam in England, you get bullied, bruv. You get bullied.
Yeah.
Chelsea must have that good D, is what Marty says here. So many terrible Chelsea players, yet Chelsea haven't won at Arsenal for several seasons.
Broski, all these seasons you've collected nothing. And the fact thing is, if Maresca wins that trophy on Sunday, he's won more trophies than Arteta in the space of a year.
Here we go again, buzzing around our ears, man, like Don Skeeto. If Noni went to Liverpool, it would work. City, it would work because of mentality. He's a liability. He's liable to win something at them clubs. I said this last night on my personal channel, and I stand by it. I think what they've done with this deal, Arsenal, is they've added more pressure to what is already a very intense season for them. They've added the pressure because if Noni doesn't deliver, if he plays like Raheem Sterling, if he delivers like David Luiz, if it's another Chelsea signing like that, it's another layer to the criticism that isn't needed. And I know this is happening in your Chelsea group chats. You guys are already putting in when the preseason games are. You've already put in when the hate alongs are going to be, the compilations. That's why I would have avoided it personally. Madueke is a baller. He is apparently on 50k a week at Chelsea. Not surprising. Arsenal and Madueke want this move.
Yeah, he's on 50k a week.
Yeah, the salary is quite low. This is how Arteta works. This player won a trophy. That player won a trophy, and he thinks he can replicate that. I don't work like that. It don't work like that, mate. It comes down to one crucial element: mentality. Wayne here talking about the abuse share. He says the worst and the dumbest fan base. These idiots did the same thing with Ramsdale and then did it with Raya. The loudest barrels are the empty ones, is what Wayne Sage has got to say. I agree that people abusing Noni Madueke are empty vessels. That there is zero need for that. And I do feel that every single prominent Arsenal fan online should be calling that out and condemning it, because surely no Arsenal fan wants him to fail. And I don't think sending people abusive DMs makes them play better football. I'm yet to see the evidence of that personally.
His biggest crime is wanting to play for their club. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Since them 3 goals at Wolverhampton, he's done fuck all since then, is what Nav says. Wayne says, big up Don Skeeto. You know that's going to stick, is what he said there. Oi, Jackson, Arteta wants you, bruv. Pack your bags and go. Scary, sensational, ecstatic Arsenal. 50 million, please. Thank you.
I can see it.
We wanted a top striker. We're after the hottest striker on the market, a left-footed forward and Odegaard cover. We're after a Premier League proven Eze, cover for Saka. We got Noni, replace Partey and Jorginho. Why is everyone in meltdown? Well, look, that brings us into like the final part of the Arsenal section, which is a new bid for Gyokeres is expected. He is not turning up for training. He is not going to be doing it. It's essentially a transfer request without saying the words, which would probably cost him a bonus. A new bid is expected for him soon. And the Eze deal is also expected to happen. So in terms of Arsenal's window, Staffy, I mean, it's still massively salvageable, isn't it? I mean, there's a lot of people that are acting like it's over the worst ever, but adding Eze and Gyokeres to this squad is going to get them up a level, would you think?
Yeah, they need ceiling raisers. I think I've been saying this about this Arsenal team. I feel like they reached their ceiling as a collective group. For them to improve, I think they need to add significant quality. And Zubamendi is a good one. I like Zubamendi. I really wanted him at United a year ago. So obviously it was unfortunate that they lost a player of the quality of Partey, at least his quality on the pitch, not off the pitch. But that was a bit unfortunate for them. But listen, adding Gyokeres, adding Eze, I think it's what they need. I didn't think Gyokeres was the striker that should be targeting because of the way Arteta plays. But listen, if they bring it in and they bring in a creator in Eze who likes to drift into central areas, and then you have Gyokeres who, funny enough, likes to drift to wide areas, that's a good combination there. It's all going to come down to how the manager integrates them and if he changes the style of play a little bit, because I think they need to attack in a different manner if you have a player like Gyokeres. But it is at least a move that shows ambition, and that's all that counts for. Whether it works or not, that's going to come down to our predictions later in the summer. And it's fair if people think Gyokeres is going to flop or not. I think we can all make our own judgment on that. But you do have to at least add the quality that's available in the summer. And the quality that's available right now is Eze's there, Gyokeres is there, and it gives you something different. At least it loads up that left-hand side for you. Which is something I think they struggled with over the last couple of seasons. So we'll see. I think there's potential for that to take them to a next level. And even if it doesn't, at least it shows ambition. So we'll see. It might salvage their summer a little bit if that's the question you're asking.
Yeah, I mean, they're good signings again, and just getting them over the line. And like I absolutely agree with Staffy. It's like, yeah, ceiling raisers, not floor raisers. That's what they need to be looking at. Go into the super chat, which I wanted to respond to, and he was like, "Yeah, you know, we're linked with Eze and Gyokeres, and do you know what I mean, Rodrigo, like, and now we've got backup for Saka." It's like, okay, so far as it stands, you've just got the backup for Saka. Like, you know, get these deals over the line. But yeah, man, like I said, Eze. Yeah, I rate him. I rate him a lot. I think that would be a very, very good deal if they can get him. From the Martinelli we've seen now, depends if they're obviously going to play him there. Odegaard is going to start in the 10, I presume, and then they'll probably put Eze on the left, I'm thinking. But if they got Rodrigo as well, it's going to make a very nice selection headache for Arteta, which he needs. If he gets them injuries, you're going to want quality. And this is what we're talking about. When it comes to these players like Eze, that's a significant level of quality of a player. Like if he is having to be a backup to someone, like versus Madueke, who is just, like I said, for 50 mil, I don't think that's a wise investment of money. But they need to just go and start being ruthless. Look, we're seeing Spurs, what they're doing. They need to be looking at Spurs and seeing how they're moving, quick, decisive. Obviously, this block that's happened isn't their fault. It's Forest trying to delay, but they're trying to move quick and decisive. That's how Arsenal need to move in this window, because they have some ground to catch up with Liverpool, who's already got a head start. So just go and get the names. Be ruthless. Go and get your Rodrigo. Go get Gyokeres. Like I said, if they have to pay a bit more, pay a bit more. I wouldn't know what their budget is. Someone said, I saw someone, it said in the chat, I think it said it was 150 mil without sales. So spend up, man. If you're really serious about winning this league, spend it well.
Well, I think the Gyokeres and Eze deal give them a very good chance of doing that, along with Zubimendi. Rodrigo is just another level, but it remains to be seen what's going to happen there. But there's quite a few exits. Like I find like Chelsea have just released this via Matt Law about Jackson, saying Chelsea have not put Jackson up for sale. However, if the right bid comes in, they'd go. United has said similar things about we're looking at new goalkeepers, but don't really want to sell Onana, but we'll sell him for the right sort of price. Every club's kind of briefing that, which I just think is public negotiations, because I think if clubs come out and say we are willing to sell someone, the price drops and everybody wants to get, we have these conversations a lot. Everybody turns around and goes, fucking hell, look at City and Liverpool always getting these good prices. It's because they stick by their principle the whole time and they don't budge and they get good prices. Chelsea are very similar as well. So I'm not surprised to see that type of, I'm not surprised. Oh, Samu Amarodium. Oh, he's fully gone to Porto. Hang on. Yeah, it's fully at Porto now, 100% ownership. I thought that was going to be a bigger update. So I think they might sell Martinelli if the right bid and the right offer comes in later in the window. But we will see. This here says even Spurs are embarrassing Arsenal. In what way?
I guess
their business means
in the window.
Maybe. I mean, this is the thing with the whole embarrassing thing. I get it's there. Gibbs-White and Kudus are very good players, and I rate them. But even when it comes to Man United, I wouldn't swap the two we're most like. I wouldn't swap Cunha and Mbeumo for them. If you were to ask Arsenal fans honestly, would they, when the window finishes, if you were to turn around and go, would you swap Eze for? They'd swap Noni for Kudus, absolutely. But let's see who else they sign. But would they swap Gibbs-White for Eze? I don't know. So I do get where you're coming from, Nav, but I don't think Arsenal fans are looking at Spurs' window and saying, I want that. And now one of those deals might even fall through. So, it isn't a here we go anymore. It's been demoted again. It might go through, it might not. Let's see. But
I'm sure they're looking and saying, I'd rather have we got Kudus than Madueke. I'm sure they're.
No, that I agree with 110%. But I think you have to look at the players as well. This Palace demotion news is yet another indication of what a joke the FA is. UEFA are fining the English clubs for whatever FA and Premier League allow them to do with full impunity. Well, it's to do with the shared ownership element. And I was listening to TalkSport, the guy, whatever his name is, he was on the show talking, and essentially he's saying, well, I don't have control and influence, but his shares were in the wrong were factored in the wrong way. And the people at Palace who actually run the club and have the power didn't change it early enough. So they haven't complied. So if they'd done the change earlier and they'd have done something different with these shares, they would have been okay. It is where it's gutting for Palace, it's a clerical error as opposed to cheating. It's a clerical error. It's essentially, it's like going to the DVLA or the DMV, I think it's called in America, and filing the wrong form. It's not that you haven't tried to do the right thing. You've just made a clerical error. It's very, very harsh. Talking shit about players going from Chelsea, but always being worse. Super logic is what Magnum says there. Noni got one less goal and assist than Martinelli last season, and he played less games. That is true, but I still think Arsenal have got to improve on him. And that's why I think they've got to be looking at Rodrigo's or Anthony Gordon, someone of that next category up, because Arsenal have got to try and win these major trophies. That, in my opinion, can't be denied. Viewers, make sure
an endorsement for Madueke, really, because
I hear you. Right, ladies, I've got a little video to play for you guys. We're going to have a little bit of a session here. Take a little look at this. It's only about 45 seconds. Let's have a little look here.
But in them 30 days, Spurs got rejected by 3 or 4. This is the problem with football fans. I'm not pressed.
Okay, it's a problem.
And equally, you're a Man United fan attacking your own football club. The reason why Spurs have they've got 2 in 2 days. They haven't actually got them over the line yet. They're not officially. This is the irony. They're not officially signed, are they? Right? Neither have actually.
Look. It's the semantics. Oh, no, they're not official over the line. Yeah. As if you don't take "Here We Goes" on Ornstein Bumbas as if they're good confirmations, Terry. You go live of videos based on Ornstein Bumbas, and here we goes. So please don't sit here and say, oh, but it's not actually over the line. Then I better not see another video of you until a player's actually announced by the club. Or then...
Oh! Damn. Staffy. That's Staffy, man. That was a me. Look at him.
Was I wrong?
Yes. I'll tell you why you're wrong.
Right.
I'll tell you why you're wrong, and it's not semantics. When do you hear my words when I said the irony? They haven't even completed them yet. You heard me say that, right? So I was referring to the Man United fans, and their tweets are there, their videos are there, who got angry between the "Here we go" and the announcement of Cunha. They were angry about that. So my point is that they're going, fucking hell, Spurs have done 2 in 2 days. But with Man United, when we got the "Here we go," that wasn't enough. They had to see the official announcement. Why hasn't it been announced? What's going on? So my point is, if you're going to wait for Man United's announcement before you calm down, you can't use other teams' "Here we goes" as a signing. For me, I keep it 100. I know that a lot of my trolls call me out for being a hypocrite, but for me, I take the "Here we go," the bomber, as it's pretty much done. Every now and then you get, I always say there's a difference between a done deal and a completed deal. Gibbs-White is a prime example. But yeah, I will react to the "Here we goes" and the bombers, but I was referring to the people that were angry after the "Here we go" for Cunha. That's what I was referring to.
Yeah, but we didn't even get a "Here we go" for Mbeumo. The issue with Mbeumo news, the reason we're comparing it to Spurs, it's not because they got a "Here we go" and we didn't get one. It's because we have been negotiating with this guy for almost 40 days now, got 2 bids rejected, and they're moving a lot quicker than us. That is why it's being compared.
Yeah,
if Mbeumo, we got a "Here we go" last week, and then a week later we still didn't get the official announcement, I don't think anyone would care. The fact that it's been almost 40 days and we didn't even get a "Here we go," and we're hearing about all these bids getting rejected, and it's rightfully so to be frustrated about this. Everyone in the window so far has been moving quicker and more efficient than Manchester United, and we are behind everyone in the pack. We didn't finish first like Liverpool. We didn't finish second like Arsenal. We didn't finish third like City. We didn't finish fourth like Chelsea. We didn't win the Europa League like Spurs. We are behind everyone into the traditional top 6, and we've made one signing and one signing only, and no sales. That's why there's a frustration.
Yes. So I agree. I agree that it's frustration. Earlier on today, I condemned it. I've said all along, today is basically the day. I know we could get some deals done over the course of the weekend, but I'm disappointed. And I've criticized, and it's a very poor performance from our negotiation team to only have 1 player in for Ruben Amorim, 110%. They should do better. What I'm not going to criticize is us doing what Lawless is angry that his club have done, and that's roll over and have their bellies tickled. And the reason why I say that is this, because, and this is what I mean by the anger. So I thought long and hard about what you've been saying, actually. And where I agree with you is that, and where I acknowledge what you've said that I agree with, is I'm going to make a little bit less effort to worry about other people's emotions. I'm going to make a conscious effort. This is my learn. This is me taking on feedback as a man to go, do you know what? If people want to be angry, I'm not going to call out individuals. I might talk about it as a generality, but individuals I'm going to leave alone, including yourself. However, what I'm not going to do is contribute negatively to an already very, very difficult situation. And I'll give you an example to that. So when it was first announced that we were going to get Mbeumo, Fabrizio Romano put out a tweet that said, and I quote, that it's going to cost around £70 million. Okay. That is what he told us, him and Ornstein. That was met by Man United fans moaning, being angry. Too much money. What a joke. What a joke. What a joke. What a joke. We have now negotiated that to a point where it's going to be around 60 million base, rising to about 65 with decent add-ons. But what Man United are doing and what's been documented is that we don't want to roll over and just have our bellies rubbed. I understand your point that other clubs have moved quicker at different times. And I know you've had a bit of a laugh with the Club World Cup thing. I still stand on that. If Liverpool and City weren't at the Club World Cup, I don't believe they would have they wouldn't have got those early transfers done because that early transfer window wouldn't have existed. So they would have to have waited anyway. But when I look at Tottenham as a stick to beat Man United with, they've been working on deals as long as we have. But what's happened is that they went for better quality players that were harder to land and got rejected by most of them. and have ended up, by the way, with good players. But I think we could have got Gibbs-White if we'd have tapped up Gibbs-White and knew the release clause, and we'd have gone for Kudus 3 or 4 weeks ago. But according to Lawless here, West Ham just rolled over. Their fans are fuming that their club made it so easy for Spurs to buy him at what they believe was an average rate rather than making it hard. We're now negotiating with a club that doesn't act like West Ham, and I think we have to factor that in. But I'm frustrated we haven't got players in, but I'm not going to use Tottenham, who have, in my opinion, are signing 2 inferior players to what we're getting. They've been rejected by the players that we're getting. I'm not using, and one of them now may see them. And I stand on this, right? Can you imagine the outrage today, Staffy? If Manchester United were the ones that got a here we go done quickly, and then 24 hours later we're being reported to the authorities for breaking the rules, I don't think Man United fans would be going, fucking salty club. I think we'd be going straight in at Ineos for being cheats. I think Man United fans would be losing their minds that it's gone the other way. So I do get the frustration. I want to say this as well, because you're right to call me out on things, and I'm open for it. But I wanted to explain it in a little bit more way. As I've said, I'm not going to try my best to add to an already difficult situation by spreading unconfirmed reports and speculative narratives. Not about transfers. I'm talking real important factors. I'll give you an example. I'll give you a few examples of what I'm talking about. This week, what we have seen is, in the last week, we've seen news stories about Rashford coming back to training as an example. In fact, yourself, you shared the story that came out, but both in the, I think both in the group chat you shared Garnacho coming back to the first team as an example, and then there was also the story that came out, and you were doing it on Twitter about, alluding to the fact that it's weak and it's bad behavior by the football club. Now, for me, when I look at this, where I get frustrated is both the Rashford story and the Garnacho story have now been confirmed as false. They are training, but they're going to be training separately away from the first team. So what I'm frustrated at is that as fans, I think it's fair what you've said about the transfer window, be frustrated at it. But it's all the other stories as well that we knee-jerk react to, slag our club off for. People have been calling our manager a pussy, a weak, no backbone. And it turns out the stories weren't true. And there's no recall of those stories by fans or by the media. There's been multiple examples so far this summer in this way. And sometimes I look at it in a very jocose way, a very humorous way. But there was a narrative only a few months ago that we were going to copy Chelsea and only buy kids. Everybody went mental about it. No one's apologized for being wrong about that, as an example. You've got the likes of Sancho that want us to give him a severance package whilst leaving. And fans are going, just get it done, get him out, which means we're going to lose money, which would be absolutely ridiculous as an example. People screamed at us for when we were quoted 70 million for Mbermo, but are now angry that we're negotiating with one of the hardest negotiating teams in the country, as an example. Everyone went mental the other day over Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and I spoke about it and said I'd be horrified, but since then have clarified that he's been offered to us and we've done no running in this, but that didn't stop people attacking our club and dragging us through the mud, as an example. The Garnacho stories I've already mentioned, okay? You've had Ugarte attacked disgustingly by Man United fans for no reason for posting a photograph of his holiday, as an example. And then the Gibbs-White situation and the Kudus situation, as I say, everyone using that, we're a joke. One of them's now been called off for tapping up, and the other one we didn't want. And we're landing the player Spurs first went for. So I think it's right to criticize our negotiation team. I think it's absolutely correct, like I'm doing, I called out this 3 days ago. And our team, in terms of negotiating sales, is nowhere near the level, and it needs to improve. And they need to get it right in the next couple of windows, or they've got to look for new people, because we need to be much better at getting these players out. However, selling them at a loss would be worse, and overpaying for players would be an even bigger travesty, in my personal opinion. But what I won't do is allow my frustration in the transfer window, and this is why I've tried to keep calm, to spill over to spread falsehoods about our players and about our manager that do nothing but hurt the football club. That's all my frustration is. But, Staffy, I will say this to you. I apologize for calling you out for always being angry. I've listened to what you've said. I've reflected on it. And that's the one element where I'm going to try to do better and try to behave in a better way. Actually, do you know what? I'm just going to focus on what I feel, my opinions, as opposed to how other people think and feel. But what I won't do is start dragging the manager today through the mud for the Garnacho news that isn't true. Especially then when I see a lot of the people. You're different. You'll address it on a stream. You'll tweet about it. But I see a lot of massive Man United accounts slagging the manager off. Then when it turns out it's a falsehood, they just leave it and say nothing. I think that's a disgrace, personally.
I hear everything that you're talking about. First of all, you discussed a lot of things, so I'm probably not going to be able to respond to all the points. I don't need to speak again about abuse and all that. I already know that's wrong, so we can just ignore that. Obviously, everything that the Ugarte post and all that. I mean, I didn't comment on this post. We actually spoke about it, me and you. So, weird behavior. I wouldn't personally have done it, but some people can do whatever they want, I guess. My main frustration towards the club, and a lot of fans have the right to have that frustration, is just the lack of business, the words and the promises that haven't been lived up to so far. I spoke about this in a stream earlier in the summer about the Omar Barada interview that he had and the apology that he had for some of the mistakes that they made. And I said, how many more mistakes are you going to make and keep apologizing? And fans are just supposed to blindly back Ineos just because they're not the Glazers. You just haven't done a great job. Yesterday, I presented this on the stream, the same stream. And that was actually the whole idea of the stream. It wasn't just to call you out for the whole here we go thing. That was just a little part of it. It was me quoting some of the things that Barada said and them not living up to it. And then when people express frustrations, not people who are abusing Amorim or Ugarte or whatever, people who are expressing frustrations, they got called out and get told stuff like you said, oh, you have something up your ass or whatever. So for Omar Barada, by the way, and this is the quote that he had on May the 28th, after we had the preseason game, or the postseason game technically, in Malaysia or wherever we were, I forgot we were. He said that basically we have specific names. We've been working on a plan for a month. We have been considering different scenarios, and we're clear about where we want to invest. Now it's all about executing the plan. So far, it looks like you haven't been prepared for different scenarios. It doesn't look like what you're doing, and there's been no execution. So when people call that out, especially that I'm just holding them accountable to their word, the last thing I want to hear is that, oh, you guys are throwing your toys at the pram. Oh, you're showing your ass too early. No, because I don't have to wait further to see that everything that you said so far still hasn't happened. It is so easy that the minute the team plays during the season and the season starts and we lose a couple games, it's so easy to say, yeah, we're not good enough. But it's hard to sit here and actually say, listen, I don't like the trajectory we're moving towards. I'm not projecting that we are going to be good because I'm not seeing the correct moves being made. And this is something that, and this is not just necessarily a personal attack on you. You know, there's a little bit of banter between me and you. At the end of the day, this is football. It's nothing personal. But when certain things like, oh, I don't like the Mount move, you get called all the names under the sun. Oh, you just want to be negative. You're just trying to be the next league gunner. The season after, a signing happens. I don't like this one. Oh, Ugarte's coming in. Guys, Ugarte's not good enough. All these things get called out. And this is just me giving my opinion. And I get dogs abuse. And I'm fine with it. I sleep well at the end of the day. But I sit here on this platform or multiple platforms and I get called out for it. And when I say it's not just me. A lot of fans see what the club's doing and saying, this is not good enough. We just get called out along the way. And then the minute the shit hits the fan, everyone wants to be like, oh, yeah, you know what? This is not acceptable. Oh, yeah, this is not good enough. Same thing with Ten Hag. Some of us sat here. For a couple years, I said it when we finished third, and I got dogs abused by the chat for saying that. When I said Højlund, I don't think he has elements to his game that's going to progress and he's going to be good enough. I got called on every match reaction by you. Oh, look, Staffy must be angry that he scored today. He's hating, da-da-da-da-da. But then when the club ends up being shit anyways, everyone then wants to say, oh, yeah, we're not good enough. Where's the credit to the people that all along were just... This is the standards. I don't like the word standards when people using it, but it's talking what we're doing. I'm just trying to say, you know what? We're not doing the right thing in the summer. We need to be a little bit more active. We need to make a little bit better signings. We need to engage more in sales. All the excuses for Ineos for not doing their job, as much as I'm understanding of the situation and I'm not ignorant, at the same time, we're essentially being told, oh, you can't judge them for not doing their job. I'm sorry, why did Blue Co and what's his name, Todd Bowley, when they took over Chelsea, they went to Saudi and they started tapping up all these Saudi princes and sold them Hakim Ziyech, sold them Koulibaly. I'm not saying we're going to have the same exact situation, but those are examples of like, you know what? This is a shit situation. Let me try to make the best out of it. Ineos have so far taken on a job that they knew it was a difficult job. We all knew that. We all admitted that. It's years and years and years of negligence from the Glazers. They have to come in and clean up. I understand that. And I understand it takes time. But when you have essentially done not enough and people are saying, oh, you can't judge them because, oh, these are difficult situations. How can they sell a player that's on 50K? How they can sell a player that's on 200K? How can they sell a player that has a bad attitude? You're asking me basically to do their job. And I don't remember bidding for United. Not only do I not have the money, I don't have the expertise and the qualifications to do that. So I'm sorry that I'm judging an ownership by their own words and their qualifications and what they promised to do for not doing it so far. I can't sit here and make all these excuses when we're having worse seasons than what we already had under the Glazers. When I thought it couldn't get any worse, it gotten worse under Ineos. We've actually been a worse team under Ineos. We've actually finished less under Ineos, but I meant to not say anything about it because these guys just came in. I'm sorry, 18 months is long enough for me to see little things where I'm like, you know what? With a little bit more, they're going to do more. Give them a little bit more time, and they're cooking. I don't think they're cooking, and I think they've been failing, and they have actually admitted multiple times that they've been failing and apologized to the fans. I'm sorry that your apology doesn't mean much to me. I'd rather see some actions.
So, Terry, what you said about the Mbeumo deal right now then, bro? Because it's like, surely, bro, like, it's been over a month now. It's been over a month now. Like, what could they possibly be negotiating now?
But so my first question to you is, let me just address what Staffy said for a second. I want to forget that. Staffy, when it comes to like me joking with you about, oh, you must be angry that Rasmus has scored, I'll be really blunt. If you don't want me to make jokes and have fun anymore with you, I won't do it, because that is not abuse. That is purely... Sorry, you're muted. I can't hear you. You're muted. I can't hear you.
Oh, I'm saying that's fine. I'm just telling you, I remember the hate that I was getting on a daily. So Staffy wants him to fail. Staffy wants him to fail. And then I question it as a fan.
Okay. But at the same time, look, it's every time one of you makes a joke about me, and you do it on these shows, you do it in group chats, you tweet, there'll always be a troll of mine that gives me abuse. And I can assure you I have more trolls than all of you put together. The same as I can assure you that Mark Goldbridge has more trolls than all of us four put together. It's the way it is. So you've tweeted every day. You've tweeted about me this week, Staffy. I've had threatening messages in my DMs, people speaking about my kids and all sorts, right? But I don't take that out on you, because you are not accountable for them. The same as, I know fans are angry at the club, but I don't blame Man United for people sending Ugarte horrible messages. They're adults. They're accountable for their actions. So I'm still, unless you ask me not to, publicly or privately, I'm still going to banter you over things. If some random prick who I don't know gives you shit, I don't feel accountable for it, and I'll stand on that, because it isn't my fault, right? What I'll say about everything else is this, though. This is the difference. You're allowed to feel upset and frustrated. I banter you and tease you about it. Yes, there are people online that will give you hate and abuse. By the way, I get it from both sides. I called out us not doing the Amazon documentary this week, and I said, oh, what they not want us to see? The amount of top Reds getting mad at me was unbelievable. I also get shit from the standards people as well. But again, as like you, I sleep well at night. From my point of view and perspective, though, it feeds well into the Mbeumo deal. I would like it done sooner. So where I'm critical is our team haven't done a good enough job yet of getting it to a respectable price and good terms where we're happy to accept. What I'm not unhappy about is that we're taking our time, because we have been pushovers for the best part of 12 years. That leads to us running out of money. That leads to people not taking us seriously. And that is part of the reason we're a bad football team. So I think we have to start as we mean to go on. The idea that we should give, I'd rather Sancho not leave and we don't buy a new player than give him a severance exit. I would rather Rashford sits in the reserves than goes on a loan and we cover half his salary. Because I think we've got to start putting out, and again, that will slow the rebuild down. But it's about setting the right foundations and the right principles. So I understand they've failed so far, Ineos, and I've called them out. Me and you sat on these streams last year, Staffy, going, it was ridiculous that Ten Hag was staying, and we'll both concur on that as an example. It ended up being ridiculous that we chased down Ashworth. He didn't fit what we needed, and we had to sack him. We slammed that as an example. What I can't slam, because this would be the true hypocrisy, and if you want to call me out for not, hold me accountable for my words, 10 years I've advocated for us behaving like this in the transfer window. Now, I want it faster, but I'd rather it right and slow than wrong and quick. And we've been wrong and a bit slow, to be fair, in the past at getting the deals done at the right price, gaining respect in the market, and selling players at the right fees. So when you ask me about the Mbermo deal, I would love the deal to already have been done. But I am not upset that we are negotiating terms and a fee that we are comfortable and we are happy with. Now, fans will all have their own opinion. I still think it's overpriced based on their own valuation. But the club can only work to its own metric on that, and then we'll assess the player. So as much as it's frustrating, that's still why I'm calm about that area. And when it comes to transfers, look, some clubs have bought more than us, but I don't rate all their signings. So for me, yeah, I look at Tottenham. They've done 2 deals in 2 days. I wouldn't take either of those players over what we're trying to sign. We could go and get a striker tomorrow, but it might be Weghorst. You've just said yourself on this stream, Staffy, you've gone, oh, Mateta might now be available. So again, people hate these words because they've become buzzwords, and I get it, like market opportunities. But sometimes you don't want to rush. Sometimes you do want to wait. As much as I want them in for pre-season, you might end up with a better striker than if we bought one 2 weeks ago. And that's why I'm trying my best to not make these sweeping statements every other week during the summer, because that is what you actually get clipped up for more. That's what you get more ridicule for. So people say you're fighting for your life. I'm not, because if we have a bad summer in the end, I will ridicule it like I did the Ten Hag situation last year. I've got no issue in doing it. What I'm not going to do, though, is get on my knees for rivals today and say the summer is and will therefore completely be a write-off. The season's finished. We're over. We're dead forever. I'm just not in that mindset right now. I'm going to wait and see what happens, because it was only 2 days ago Spurs fans were asking for Levy to go jump off a building. Yesterday, they wanted to build a statue with his bald head on it. And I don't know. I don't want to be that reactionary personally. That's just...
fans are emotional. Forget that part.
No, I agree. I agree.
And we already know that. I just don't agree, because you're mentioning the whole thing that we don't want to be taken for a ride, basically, and be pushed over by other clubs. I don't think the Mbuemo deal was ever that. I think at the end of the day, Mbuemo at 60 mil, to me, this has been my stance. If he goes for anything between 60 to 70, I don't think that's a great deal. That's more of like, you know what, that's the market value. Especially now that I'm looking at Madueke going for 52, Kudus going for 55. What's his name? Morgan Gibbs-White, 60 mil. These are prices for players that I consider less than Mbuemo's bait, at least based on last season.
So again, if we get him,
that's bad.
So if we get him for a base of 60 million, right? With really good add-ons.
All summer, Terry.
We've been told all summer that they're not putting money for him. No, it hasn't. Yeah, they wanted that.
What's the difference in valuation right now?
Hang on. Their starting price that was wanted was £70 million, quoted by Fabrizio. Ben Jacobs said it on the United stand 2 days ago. Brentford still have this figure of 70 million they're pushing for, but United now know it won't go as high as that. That's because of the negotiations. This is the one element I won't do, is I won't change the facts that were presented by the most credible journalists out there because it suits the narrative. I won't do it. And this comment here says, Terry, you want things slow. I didn't say I want things slow. Like, you're not listening. I said I want them right and fast, but I'd rather them right and slow than wrong and quick. And we have been wrong so regularly. And that's where, for me, I'm looking at the criticism. So, for instance, with Sancho, I'm pissed we haven't got rid of him yet. But I would be more angry if we sold him at a loss. So, again, I'm not going to... If we get rid of him in 2 weeks' time for 25 million, all his salaries covered, and we make a nice little profit and we invest it in a player, I'm happier with that than what some United fans... Again, the emotional part. When you're emotional, when you're panicking, you are asking the club to do things that have longer term damage upon us in terms of the finances. So I think this is why this conversation is healthy, because it's about a balance here. I've already admitted I'm wrong about some things. I should probably leave people's emotions alone. I've said on nearly every stream, I understand the anger. At the same time, what we can't do is look at the frustrations that we haven't got it done yet versus the practices we're undertaking. What we can't do is be annoyed we haven't bought more players and perpetuate a lie about about Garnacho and Rashford and start attacking our manager over it. There for me is a distinction in those things. And I still think that adults that love their football club should be able to differentiate between those things. So my annoyance is more that everything's been a trigger to go crazy, even when it turns out 50 to 60% of the stories are not true.
So let me ask you a question then. Let me ask you a question then, right? Because I get it. For years, United have been run badly. So for you, you'd rather do good business than bad business, regardless of how long it takes, right? Now, let me ask you, is this you only having this sort of mentality this summer because they're quite new? Obviously, they've only been here, a year now?
No.
Or are you going to you know, because surely you're going to expect them to be a bit quicker than this. Like I get
So,
it, like the PTSD. And that,
but there's no PTSD. There's no PTSD, right?
what is it then?
I'm going to say something that's I'm going to say something that's going to upset a lot of Man United fans. For years, when I was blaming the Glazers for where we were, I was told by most of the predominant football YouTubers to shut my mouth. The Glazers don't pick the team. The Glazers don't play the games. The Glazers don't coach the sides. It was always the manager. And what I spoke about on such a regular basis was the way we operate on and off the pitch stems from the way we operate as a board. And I've said this for 12 straight years. And people talk about I'm a simp for the owners. I'm not. I was the Man United fan who received death threats for saying every Man United fan who gives money to the club is a Glazer. And I still stand on this. We should all be boycotting and pulling our money away if we really want to get rid of them. But nobody's going to do that. So now we're in the reality. And this is what I'm frustrated with. People live in this world of, yeah, but I'm going to hate them anyway because they're here. I get that. But we're not removing them because no one is willing to do anything tangible. So now we have to deal in the reality of the situation that we sit in. And the reality is we're fucked financially. What I've been asking for on a consistent basis, the content's still up, so go watch it, is we need to behave better in the transfer market, negotiate harder, not keep overpaying, better payment terms. And the massive one I've called for is us not underselling. Where you're right, Don, and I've called it out on the United Stand, the biggest Man United platform in the world, that our speed of execution is still not up to par and must improve. But the practice is right. Like going to the gym, you go gym. Okay, your form's good. You're moving the bar in the right way, but it's a bit too quick or it's a bit too slow, or you've got to put some more weight on it. But you've got to get the form right if you're ever going to progress. And that for me is important because it's all these little things that have led to us being a laughing stock in the last 12 years. Also why I've also stated again that you talk about consistency and PTSD isn't. When Ineos came in, they weren't my first choice. I wanted the Qataris, but I said I'm going to give them a 2 to 3 year period. I'll criticize their mistakes, and if anybody says I hasn't done that, they're a liar and they should go suck on a toe because you've all been here and watched me do it. I'll criticize their mistakes, but I will give them time to implement what it is they're doing. I'll criticize, but what I won't do, and I said it all along. So when people say you've got to hold Terry to account, well, what did I say? That I'm going to give it time before overly judging it. All I'm doing is stand true to my word. Now, the one thing I'm going to listen to in the criticism from Staffy and everybody else is to leave other people's emotions alone. I'm going to stand on that and do my absolute best. I can't promise because I'm a human being, but I'm going to do my best to do that. But what I won't do is push a lie about my manager and call him a pussy and that he's weak and has no authority for a story that wasn't true. And if anybody says I'm wrong for that, again, go suck the other big toe because it's crazy. That is true. So for me, look, I get it. I get the frustration Staffy's feeling. I want more players in as well. But I'd be a massive,
like they said, because everything. Here's the thing: there, you go on these long monologues, and they sound so good. And they sound like in theory they don't.
But they're true.
No, and that's fine. But then none of what you say happens anyways. Like I don't care about someone Ineos telling me they want to do it the correct way when you're not able to do it at all. How much longer am I supposed to wait? Like let's take the sales as a approach. Forget the Mbeumo thing. Let's talk about selling. All right. Why are we not selling right now? It's because no one wants our highest earners, right? Who came in with the strategy that I'm going to target my highest earners first? I didn't do that. You didn't do that. None of these fans did that. That was their approach. So they were like, you know what? We're going to go for the highest earners first because we think, you know what, Sancho probably shouldn't be here. Rashford shouldn't be here. Anthony shouldn't be here. You find yourself in a situation where you're not able to move them on. Your season is about to start. You're bringing them in and you have all these isolated players training and you're not raising money from sales. And if anything, now teams are taking the mick out of you and they're taking more time to negotiate if they want any of your players, knowing that you already exiled them and you want to get rid of them. So you find yourself in a situation right now where I can't use Rashford, I can't use Anthony, I can't use Sancho because you are trying to sell them, but yet I'm meant to make an excuse for you that no one wants to take their salaries. So when you came in with the approach that I'm going to get rid of the highest earners, what was the plan? What was the plan other than I just want them gone? Okay. That's an idea. But you had nothing lined up. Did you go to Madrid? Did you go to Barcelona? Did you go to Saudi Arabia? Hang on.
But they have done. So let me ask you this question.
What have they done? Tell me.
We know what they've done. So what have they
done to move these players on?
So what they've done in January is they found a very suitable loan for Anthony, a player that people said we'd never be able to sell.
It's not a sale, Terry.
Hang on, let me finish. Yes, exactly. They found very suitable loans for players that got them back in the shop window and has got clubs interested. Now there are multiple clubs. There are multiple clubs interested in buying them. But what those clubs are doing, and I think everybody fails to miss this, is they are trying to do to Man United what they have done for the past 12 years. Is exactly what Lawless said on the 14th minute of this show, because I timestamped it on purpose, is we roll over and have our bellies rubbed. And what clubs are waiting for is for Man United to go, okay, Juve, you can have Sancho, but we'll pay half his wages. Barca, we'll drop the asking price from 40. You can have him for 20. That way you can register him and pay his salary. Betis, you're desperate for him. Your own league was calling him the GOAT. We know you can't afford the 40 million asking price.
What's the alternative?
Well, this is my view. See, I have a solution to this. I want to know what your solution is first. So what would you do instead of trying to make a profit or trying to maximize a sale? Would you bow down and sell these players now at a loss, which is what the current purchasers are trying to do? Would you do that?
I look at those three players especially, and maybe you can remove Rashford since technically he is pure profit no matter what happens. Sancho and Anthony especially. I don't expect clubs to just come and do us a favor and be like, oh, you guys don't want to get bullied no more? No, you know what? Yeah. We'll cover the whole salary. Or I expect these players like Sancho, even though he's a dickhead, to come in and say, nah, you know what? Just for the sake of the fan base, you know what? Here you go. I don't want to have my salary. There's donations for you guys. Here you go, Ineos. Continue whatever you're doing in the summer. Start the Ineos era with no debt because I don't want my money. Players are not going to do that. You find yourself in situations with those three players at least in a situation where, like, what is the least damage that I could take from moving these players on? I have been convinced for a minute now that we're not making any money off Sancho. This guy came out today, reported that he actually rejected 180 to 200 with Chelsea. That guy is already mental. So if he's not taking that money there, you already know the only way to move him on is if a club is actually willing to get him, which is Juventus. That is the closest we got to finally someone take him. Now, can I somehow just take a minor loss rather than a major loss? Because guess what happens if you don't move him on? He stays here for the season. He will not play, and you're paying to 200K anyways. Yeah. So would I rather pay 200K for someone to play Fortnite at home, or would I rather pay 50K and just get this issue off my hands? I'd rather pay the 50K and cut my losses and move on from that toxic relationship. Okay. Same as Anthony, same as Rashford. But the club is not doing that.
Okay. So, but they're not doing it now because if you listen to the reports and read the stories, the amount that clubs are willing to offer them. So Juve's approach and offers to Sancho are growing. They've now gone up to 180 that he's rejected without a severance from us. So I get your point that you want the club to, at some point, may have to cut its losses. And I get from a financial standpoint, letting him go and still paying 50K a week is better than paying him 200K a week and getting no transfer fee. I concur with that completely. But if we would have yielded at the first offers 4 or 5 weeks ago when everybody started panicking, the loss would have been almost the same as in playing for us. They wanted us covering most of the wages. It is a risky game. I'm not going to deny that. And it could blow up in our face. But for me, it's also the longer term element here. If we become a side that is hard to negotiate with, doesn't roll over and let other men touch our belly, doesn't let people develop new shaft pipes for us, and we're hardball, one, it stops more players from taking the piss in the future. Two, and this is more short term as well, if we let Rashford go really cheaply now, the other clubs are going to expect the same for their players. Equally, if we just turn around and pay what clubs want straight away in transfer fees, the next club we try to buy from goes, well, we know Man United are just they're going to bid 40. We know they'll jump to 50, 55. They've done it on the last 2 deals. So eventually what happens? You run out of money again. So I get your point and I want the speed there. But the process, and I know everyone hates that word, that's why I'm using it. But the process around selling needs to be in place and we need to be hard-faced. We need to be difficult. And I am not adverse to us taking a financial hit in the short term to set a precedent that we will not be forced into doing what we don't want to do. In the longer term, Man United will benefit from that because we have been a laughing stock. I agree with you 100% in this transfer window for many, many a year. We are not going to fix it by doing the same thing instantly that we used to do. And there has to be a happy medium. And I agree with you. Every week now that we go further into the transfer window, that we don't get the deals we want, there's an added level of failure within that. And I agree. I've never said any different to that. And I'll call it out and ask for it to be better. But what would piss me off more is letting all those players go and barely making any money on them. that for me is a bigger insult to the fans of this football club than it taking an extra 2 or 3 weeks. And I can't do anything but stand on that. And again, away from the transfers, and there's a great comment here. I love this comment that says, Terry, Goldfish is rubbing off on you. Well, this is where, Maradon, you're being a bitch. Because me and Mark and I'll tell you why you're being a bitch, why you're being a little bitch, a catty little bitch as well, is that Mark Goldbridge is more in the camp of Staffy than me on this conversation. So you were chatting out to your butthole, young man, but nice try at the nickname there. Terry, your approach is too risky, potentially. But again, this is when people say, I'll hold you to account, Terry. I know it's risky. And if it ends up blowing up in our face, and if in the longer term we don't get better at these deals, I will hold my hand up and say that approach didn't work and I was wrong. The difference is, well, I don't think the people losing their minds will. That's the difference between them and I. How do I know this? Everyone's slagging off Amorim yesterday for the Garnacho news. I've checked about 5 big accounts that were slagging him off. Not one has tweeted today since the news has come out. It's not a true story. Not one. So don't come at me about being held to account. I'm looking at the man out here calling our manager a pussyhole. They're the ones. Why are they not being called out?
Staffy, you find yourself in a situation. By the way, when I tweeted that, it wasn't even at Emery. It was at the fact that basically they're bringing a player back after the manager said that to him. These type of things lead to one or two things: either the manager getting sacked or the manager actually walking away. Because I think it's inevitable. By the way, all this that's happening, you got to remember that all this with this approach and everything that you said, by the way, because of how slow this approach will be, you end up getting a manager like the one that we got, with everyone turning on him because of the season we had. And he's eventually going to fail because this model that we're doing, sorry, it might have gains if it does happen. It might have gains in the latter stages, but it absolutely tanks the manager that you have right now.
It's a great point you raise, and that for me is where I would slam Ineos the most. So if they end up not being able to have a good summer because they're sticking to this approach to become more hard-faced to get better deals in the longer term, fine. But it means you've then got to stand more by your manager. And you've got to make sure that player power doesn't exist.
And you've got to even going to stand by this. He made it clear so many times last season.
He might go, right? If he walks away, then he walks away. Again, like I said, I'll condemn them for doing a bad job. The manager then goes, I ain't staying for this. Fair play. But if he stays, they can't take it out on him. That is where I would go at Ineos. But let me ask you a question, because I saw your tweet the other day about 100% the club's written off. How, and I'll make sure I word this in this question in the right way. How badly, if at all, do you think this horrendous window, as you've called it, will set back our season in reflection of league position? Right now, how bad is our season going to be based on us having a horrendous summer, Staffy?
I already thought that we were mid-table even if we got Mbeumo early. So that actually this is actually worse, because I thought we were mid-table even with Mbeumo coming in about 30 days ago. I think we're about to have a horrendous season. And you know what it is? Even if, just pretend that I'm a waffler, because everyone likes to say I'm waffling. No one ever tells me why I'm waffling. I'm just a waffler. 3 of our last 4 seasons, we haven't been a top 6 team. That is a fact. 3 of our last 4 seasons, they gradually end up being our worst season ever. So besides that one season under Ten Hag where we finished 3rd, we finished 7th under that Ranić season, and then 8th with Ten Hag, and then 15th with what's his name, Amorim last season. So factually, if you put these numbers on a graph, it just keeps getting worse. Now, unfortunately, to my argument here, there's not a lot more worse than 15th, because now that leaves a very small gap. So I can't sit here and say, yeah, we'll get even worse, because the only thing worse than here is technically relegation, or just finishing 17th.
Yeah.
But if anyone sits here and looks at the trajectory of this team and looks at the state of this team is actually worse than the Ranić team. It's worse than the Ten Hag second-year team, and it's probably just as bad as last year as it stands. We are heading toward another season where there's no reason why I can predict anything that's more than mid-table. It's going to rely on the teams around us, how much team around us invest, who strengthens, who gets worse. But this team as it stands right now, and the way the manager ended the season, there's no way I can predict anything outside of mid-table.
And I give you a lot of respect for your prediction there, because a lot of people that I've had conversations with that say it's horrendous, we're going to have a terrible season. You said, well, quantify that. they don't want to give a straight answer. So I've got a lot of respect for you for saying that there.
We're mid-table. With Kunen and
yeah,
Buemo, I think we're a fancier mid-table team. That's the difference. And I've been saying it for weeks now. And I have no problem putting my opinion out there. Because if I'm wrong, guess what? It means United did well. And I don't give a fuck if I was wrong if United are doing well. But with Cunha and Buemo, we are generally just a better mid-table team. We're a mid-table team that will score more goals than 38 goals last season. That's it.
Yeah, I hear you on that, mate. And look, I'll just reiterate by saying at the end, you know, I'm going to be critical of aspects of this summer, and I have been, and I will continue to be, and people have heard it on this show. I'll continue to do it where necessary, but I'll also give credit where credit is due as well if I see positive steps are being taken. And a lot of what we're doing practice-wise is what I've been asking for. So the biggest hypocritical move for me would be to suddenly kicking off about what I've been asking for, because I do think in the long term it could yield dividends, but we will see. Before we go any further, though, I've got a couple of things, because Staffy also put in another complaint to HR that he doesn't get enough flowers on the Football Terrace. He doesn't get enough credit. So these are inaugural.
Can you actually tell them that there's no HR on the terrace?
Yeah, there's no real HR. So we've got a couple of things for Staffy. Staffy today has been awarded a certificate of achievement to Staffy TV for the Give Me My Flowers Championship 2025. Okay, this is in recognition, okay, for your talent, your dedication, and your outstanding performance that have emerged in recent times. So a massive congratulations to you, Staffy. You've won the first ever certificate of achievement for Give Me My Flowers on the Football Terrace. Plus, this is a double. Round of applause first. Round of applause. Okay.
Well done, Staffy. Well done.
Plus what we have done. Okay. There is another one here where Staffy, okay, certificate of induction, gaining the first member of the TFF, okay, the Terry Flewis Foundation Standards FC Hall of Fame for 2025. So, Staffy, I wanted to give you your flowers for all the things you've been right about. And listen, on a real level, I really like the challenge today. And I will say this: I get some people that go online and go, "I'm gonna slag Terry off because he says he likes being challenged." Now, this was a respectful challenge that wasn't personal, where we both listened to each other and understood each other. But all jokes aside,
there's your
flowers. Yes, you can give a speech.
Give a speech. Listen, very emotional moment for me. I worked my whole life for this. Shout out to everyone who supported me along with this journey. All my friends, all my family, every YouTube content creator, every person in the chat. I'm about to cry. I'm about to give a KD speech. Mom, you're the real MVP. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Cheers, congratulations, Staffy.
This guy is shameless. You know.
Well done.
Me and Lawless were just there, just letting you lot have your therapy session, bro.
You need to print it and frame it. I want to see that on your wall, Staffy.
Can you actually send it to me? Well, I'll print it and I'll put it here behind me.
I will send them both to you in 4K. In 4K, I'll send them, bruv. I'll send them across. Listen, I want to thank, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, that is how you have a conversation and a debate without being nasty, without being rude, constructive. Some people agree with Staffy, some people agree with me. Unless people get nasty about the platform or personal, there's no echo chambers here. Listen, until next time, take care, goodbye, God bless, and we'll see you all again very, very soon. Peace.